was like, all right, let's go. And I just started, what's up, guys? I saw a comment in there. He's late. He's absolutely late. I am, but my intro works. Wow, I guess it doesn't. I guess that's not a huge deal. In any case, how you guys doing? How you doing on this fine day? We're gonna be talking about Arduino and Ghost and all the things. Yeah, I'm gonna be having a really cool time with the format here coming up. We're gonna start recording a lot of the stuff for different parts of the online courses, and we're gonna do that right here. So it's gonna be cool because I'll be able to do some stuff live, make sure that if there's anything that I missed or need to add in there or just get feedback from you and it's cool stuff that can help somebody else, then we will add that in there and it will be good. DIY people, I've waited for this for so long. Ooh, Arduino, says Scott Dan. What up, Darren Ottman? What up, Jake Garforce II, Adam Board, Tim Shields, Gracie Shields in the house. Putting all you boys to shame. Gracie Shields, 14-year-old daughter of Big Tim Shields. What up? And DD says he's late. They knew, bro. They already knew. You have to tell them. You have to shame me publicly. Just kidding. And Al watching. I can't watch today, but I'll be listening. Al, I'm glad you'll be listening. That's pretty dope, dude. Thank you for listening. So we're going to talk about some stuff that's going to be, I think, really good for just the listener. And it should be a pretty nice time overall, especially because I'm going to be talking about kind of ideas, things that aren't super exciting, but I will also be sharing things like cool little Ghost modules, talking about them, and specifically for the guy that tuned in because he saw me saying don't use Arduino, we're going to be talking about focus and things that you should be probably doing if you're interested in building the lights. Whether you're just getting involved in the community right now and you just want to be messing around with the coding and all of that stuff, almost even more so for you than anybody else, you don't want to start off on the wrong foot and start doing things that kind of open you up to rabbit holes that you shouldn't be going down. And that's why I specifically say you should stay away from Arduino if you're doing 12-volt electronic stuff inside of cars. Not that there's anything wrong with Arduino. If you don't know what that is, it's basically, it's kind of like a fully open source thing that you can adapt to all kinds of different projects and things with electronics. The problem is it's all 5-volt based, and I know that there's workarounds and there's all sorts of cool stuff that you can add and things that change up your voltage, and you can do all that. And there's a whole coding language that you can learn to allow you to do all sorts of different awesome functions with Arduino. The product is amazing. You shouldn't use it for cars. We're going to be talking about that. Why do you think you shouldn't be using it for cars? If you have any idea about what I'm talking about and you think you know why you shouldn't use Arduino for cars, trucks, things like that, put it in chat. Let's talk about your responses. Should be cool. Didi says microcontroller. So I am very interested in hearing what you guys think I'm about to be talking about. Adam Board says speed and reliability. All right. I'm definitely interested in hearing more of these things. DIY people says because it runs on 5-volt. Yep. James Brian McNatt, big dog in Discord, says it's for prototype, not permanent. John Paul says I'm very lost now. Bro, that's totally fine. That's why I'm making this, because there are so many people in John Paul's situation that are like, I'm totally lost. What are we even talking about? And then there's going to be a million people that are like in the know. Like they know, man. They're going to tell you. They're going to say, oh, all you have to do is get an Arduino and then just write your own code and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to send John Paul down some empty freaking fall into the abyss rabbit holes that he should not be going down to do something stupid easy with something like a Ghost unit. Like why would you not use a Ghost to do something that's 12-volt related? You want to trigger something specific. You don't want to guess. You don't want to have to like write code to tell it what to do. You just know, bro, yellow wire, hook it up to the turn signal on the car. Like, come on, that's not rocket science. The thing is, the guy that made that probably could tell you a bit about rocket science because he works at NASA. Like, I don't work at NASA. I don't want to work at NASA. I don't want to write code and tell all these things what to do and like assign this function to that pin and blah, blah, blah. I could learn it. You could learn it. But I think all we want to do is turn on some lights when the turn signal is activated on a car. I just want to turn on some lights when I step on the brake pedal and I want it to look dope. Oh, and I want to make a quick change and then make it look dope in a different way in like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. I don't want to write code. I don't want to touch code. Matter of fact, I want to just access a big group, a big library of code that other people before me have come in, like Gracie, and made some dope code. I mean, I want to use that code. I don't want to write it. I just want to use what Gracie made because it's sick. And I saw a video and I was like, yo, I want that. Give me that now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to dig in and have to learn all sorts of crazy stuff for an Arduino. I don't want to use a voltage drop regulator. I don't want to go from 12 volt down to 5 volt back to 12 volt. That sounds dumb. It sounds cumbersome. And it could be done, totally. But I don't think you should do it. Matter of fact, I know you shouldn't do it. Because there's a better solution out there. And the guy that's going to tell you, like would go tell John Paul, oh yeah, just use Arduino. It's so easy. You just blah, 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 blah. It only takes 12 hours. Bro, I'm talking about like, you could just buy the thing and start. Like you could just immediately start connecting up LEDs. And you can just grab a couple files that already exist, load it onto the thing, and play. I want people to be able to play. I don't want them to do code. Code? Car guys, code? I mean, sometimes there's a crossover, but usually not. Let's hear what everybody else has to say. Tim Shields says, if it was efficient, the OEMs would have adapted it by now. I agree. Some of them are crazy. Adam Board says, stay lost, brother. Stay lost. I'm with you on that. Stay lost. It's better. I mean, like, stay, and I don't use this word lightly, but like, just stay not in the know. I was going to say ignorant, but that sounds like mean. Just don't bother yourself with stuff that's not going to help you. There's too much that we need to know already that takes up room in our brains to go dive in and learn a bunch of crap to just get us back to square one, right? Like, why run a marathon just to get to the starting line, right? Why would you do that? Because dude on the internet told you, he's like, I do coding all day long. Like, sweet. Honestly, there's certain things that bring me joy doing terrible work. Like sometimes doing wiring, like insanity, like crazy wiring. I actually dig it. I'll come out into my workshop in the middle of the night and grind for like 3 hours. I'll turn on some anime, turn on some music, whatever. Sometimes I'll even live stream when I do it. And I'm just sitting there connecting 8 million wires. And it's the dumbest, worst thing ever, but I actually enjoy it. But I'm not going to go tell somebody else that they would enjoy it because I'm sure they wouldn't. I'm just weird. And that's just something that brings me happiness to sit and make crazy things with my hands. And that's why I enjoy making the online courses, because there's certain weirdos out there that are just like me. Maybe that's you, maybe it's not. But if it is, I got courses that show you how to do the stuff that I do because it's what I like. I don't think that that's what everybody else should like. So for me to think that somebody should like coding and getting in and messing with Arduino and figuring out all these different stupid components when there's something like, look, dude, this is a raw ghost board. All right. I even have a little ground mat here. If you've ever wondered what this whole thing's about right here, it's a big grounding mat. And so plugged into the wall is my little ground strap. And look, I'm grounded. It's on my skin. So I'm gonna take this little guy out and I'm gonna show you a couple things on this board, because all these videos that we've done for 3 weeks, today's day 21 of daily live streams. Let me mute my mic so I can take this thing out without deafening you. Oh, I don't think that worked. Sorry. Still don't think that worked. Okay, got a ghost. Little tiny board. Look how small. And if I'm looking at it, I've got a place to put power and ground for 12 volts, 14 volts, whatever. A car, a boat, whatever it needs. And then I've got all these things. That one's for a brake light. Just put a wire there, connect it. That one right there is for a turn signal. That one right there, I can customize. I can say that that's for a show mode and make a cool thing like Gracie did. That'd be dope. And I've got another one that's for a second show mode. So that could be another little wild dance of LEDs, or I could just repurpose it and use this one board for a turn signal on the left and a turn signal on the right, and just repurpose that as a second show mode. A second turn signal. It could be a reverse light if I want to just say that this is specifically for a set of taillights, and I just want that thing to turn on some cool reverse lights. And then the last one, I have parking lights. So this thing has some logic put into it that tells you what's going to happen when a certain wire gives it power, right? What does that mean? It means that you're not programming things to say, hey, if I step on the brakes and then I hit the turn signal and then I hit the show mode, that one of those is going to be more important than the other. You don't have to do that. You don't have to know how to code anything, because this thing's just set up. Like if you, let's say, want your turn signals to come on, but you don't know how fast is it going to be, like how many fractions of a second do I have from the first little pulse that my car gives this thing until all of the little animation things that I've told it to do complete. Like how long should that take? I don't know, because it's going to be different car to car, but this thing adjusts automatically. But Arduino doesn't do that. I'm sure you could write some genius code that does it, but I don't know that code. I've sure built a lot of cool lights with this, but I don't know how to code it or make it work. And so this is a explanation as to why the guy that tells, why the computer guy that tells the car guy that he should use something like Arduino because he doesn't know that Ghost exists. Well, he's just flat out wrong. You shouldn't do so. It'd be like you should go learn how to turn rubber into a pourable material, and then you should make this giant mold, and then you should learn how to put the metal straps in there, and you should make your own tire because you have a flat tire and you need to fix it. You should redesign the tire. Like, no, you should go buy a tire. You guys with me? I really want this information to exist, because there are so many times that I see smart people give terrible advice. Just about every day. There's some really, really intelligent idiots out there. Gotta tell you. I'm not trying to blast anybody. That works with all things, not just automotive, but people that are principals of school and they're teaching all the children these things, but they suck at life. I don't know. I see a mismatch there. There's so many comments that I haven't read, and I need to get on there. So your guys' comments were other reasons why it wouldn't be good, and I want to actually dive into a couple of those right now. So yeah, absolutely. The thing about it being 5 volts, for sure. Like you can use a voltage regulator that drops 12 volts safely down to 5. It's actually now going to run under 5 volts, which means whatever it puts out is going to be under 5 volts going to the thing. And then you'd have to like boost that signal back up and run little things that take a signal like a MOSFET or something like that, and it puts out 12 volts. Like, I don't know, just not good, not smart. I'm sure there's other workarounds that I don't know about in Arduino, but like I said before, I shouldn't know Arduino because there's so many rabbit holes you could go down and learn to do different things that have nothing to do with what you're trying to accomplish, which is just powering up some cool LEDs for a car. And like there's a thing that's made for a car, so you should do that. Snizzer says, no builder wants to spend 100+ hours in coding and not get paid for it. Ding, 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 ding. Spoken like a guy who's actually earned money doing this stuff and knows, which is really the topic of the whole day, focus. There are certain things that you should do because you have a unique service, a unique thing that you can do. You can get paid for that thing. And then there's 8 million other things that you're not unique. You're not special at all about it. Like, you're going to put some headlights on a dude's car? Well, how are you going to get those headlights on the car? Because the bumper has to come off. Oh, it's a $100,000 car, and that bumper's worth freaking $15,000 because it's made out of carbon fiber. And if you scratch it, Homeboy's just gonna nail you to the wall. Be like, you owe me $15,000, bro. This is a GTR. This is a Nismo. I've never had that happen. I've had amazing customers with that car, but that's a $160,000 car. Ooh, buddy. And I'm gonna put a headlight on there, and I gotta know how to take that bumper off perfectly without messing it up. How much can I charge to take that bumper off? Because my guess is there's a dude who would do it way cheaper. It's got tools specifically for that. Lifts, employees, stuff like that. And you're going to pay the guy that runs the shop, not the guy pulling the bumper. So do I want to be the guy pulling the bumper? Here's the spoiler alert. No, I don't want to pull a $15,000 Nismo front bumper. I sure don't. But what if that's required so that I can put on the $8,000 headlights? I don't even want to build $8,000 headlights, just so you know. But if I built them and then I had to install them on dude's car, my unique specialty, my service, the thing that the next guy can't do, that only I can do, is what I should be doing. And then another guy, maybe that runs a shop doing Nismos all day long with all the dopest lifts, and his techs are amazing. And you can go in there and shell out bucks, and you know, no matter what, your $15,000 bumper is legit. It's safe. It's good to go. You shouldn't even blink at having some dude in his garage, in his driveway, his little shop, whatever, with his hand tools. Like, why would you even put yourself in that situation? Like, no, you go to the guys that are dope about it, and then you have this other guy that's really good at what he does, and then this other guy that's good at what he does. It's the same reason that you don't have the tire shop install your alarm system. I don't know. They might take the money for it because they want that sale, but it doesn't mean that they're the right guy for the job. So Sinister said, no builder wants to spend 100 plus hours in coding and not get paid for it. Yeah, right, because you're going there to get blinky lights. You're not going there to solve some computer coding problem, right? Because you don't even think about computers. You just think about little lights, and you're like, well, doesn't it just happen automatically? Like magic? Just say, like, bobbity boo, and then it does. Like, I really want to know what people, like, how do you think that thing gets wired? Like, or how do you think it gets power? People say, is it plug and play? I'm like, yeah. It just uses magnetic magic waves, and it turns things on. That's how it works. All I have to do is think it, and it'll happen. Literally, you just plug the lights back in, snap your finger, do the little click your heels 3 times, boom, everything's done. You're exactly right, bro. Come on. Obviously, that's not the case, right? There's like a million wires that have to go to things. Well, you could use addressable, but you can't, though. Not to do what we're doing with Ghost, right? So there's a specific thing for it, and a very smart man, which I love talking about how he works at NASA. So my man, he works at NASA. They don't even know I'm doing this today. I just felt like doing it. I thought it was the right topic, considering we've been making all these videos about coding. We got a 6-year-old coding. We got a 14-year-old coding. A bunch of dudes all around the whole planet that are coding, and we're not talking about the actual thing that we're putting that code on. This Ghost module. That's how all of this is happening. That's why we have a whole group. Got the whole squad, right? Ooh, look at that. Start now, sign up below. That was actually supposed to start a video that it didn't do, but I'm good with it. It said join now. You should join Sequential Squad if you don't know about that. There's a link right in the chat. Go for it. So that's a little bit of my thought process behind what we should and shouldn't be doing. Adam says Ghost is a bit too expensive in my opinion for what it is. And absolutely, that's why I'm making a video like this, because what I just shared about all of the things that it's not the thing that you have to code for the brake light. It's not the thing that you have to, like figure anything out. You literally connect wires. In this case, so I sell these things modified up in the epoxy, done, ready to go for $300 for 2 of them. You shouldn't do that. I don't want you to do that. It's actually so much time and effort for me to do that when you could just be buying these, and retail they're like $70 right? So all of that is time. So if you've got 8 million hours of spare time, you don't have to ever get paid for any of it, and you can sit there and tinker, then my man Adam would be like, that's the smartest approach, is that it's a very inexpensive little board. There's been a lot of you know, a lot of development, a lot of changes, and, you know, like versions over time. This is the 5th version of it, so it's a V5 board. But overall, it's just a little circuit board. You know, why is it $70? Because of what it saves you, the time. The time is what this thing you're buying. You're not buying a circuit board. You're buying all the years of development, all of the community collaborative effort. You're buying so much time. And buying time is what rich people do, just so you know. There's a reason that all of the things, building teams and building systems and all that stuff, it's done not because the guy can't do it himself. The trap is doing everything yourself. The trap is doing all that coding and doing the Arduino and figuring out how to make everything happen yourself and never purchasing even a minute of your time back. But like Sinister said, who's a guy that gets paid to build lights all the time, no builder wants to spend 100+ hours and not get paid for it. Guys, 100+ hours will put me out of business right now. Like it's insanity to think about that. A lot of the time that goes into building lights, especially in custom sequential stuff, is just the coding and sitting there at the computer. And my guess is that 95% of the people that are selling that service, they're not even charging for that time. Not any of it. It's crazy. All right, DIY People says, well, with Arduino, you could use your phone to control the lights, but you need more experience. Exactly. Time, right? Let's just stay on that theme here and read some comments, and I'll answer back if it's a time thing or not. John Paul says, if someone does that, then I would have got it from you, laugh out loud, as don't listen to anyone else for lights other than the guys in the squad. Well, boom, that's pretty sick. I like that response a lot, because there's some really smart dudes in there. And by the way, you don't have to take it from me. I'm just probably have the loudest voice, but it doesn't have to be that way. JDM LED Solutions in the house says Arduino is a cheap solution, but it's more complex to do that. 100%, dude. It's just time. So let's see. James says, if you know how to do it, then do it the right way and put real units into production. Totally. That's the thing too, is that like a lot of people act like if they have some idea that's like this game changer and they're just like, oh, don't do that, do this, you do it. I freaking dare you. It's not a challenge of like a you can't, because I love when people tell me I can't, because then like it absolutely musters it up. Or when they tell me to do something, I really don't want to do it now because they just told, do this. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. I just want to push back, right? And so, yeah, man, if you've got a solution, if you're Corso Motion and you don't want to just make your products to work with a ghost sequencer because you know you can make your own sequencer, then you should. And they did. And there's other units that are coming out. People reach out and tell me about things. I know of at least one other company that makes amazing products. I'm not going to drop the ball right now or say anything. They literally said don't say anything because I don't want the attention right now. They're coming up with a drop-in sequencer that does cool stuff. So there are absolutely options for you. You can even use an Arduino. There's one called LED Magic. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. I love Ghost because all the time it saves me. It's huge. Juan Martinez says, I've used Arduino for automotive lighting. It was for digital RGBs though, so a Ghost module wouldn't work. Yep, and in that case you could use a blue Ghost, but in any case, if something works, like if Arduino is the perfect example because it's powering a bunch of 5-volt LEDs and it has 5 volts going into it, and it's like, you know, the two things work great together, then that's what you should use for sure. Chris is talking about the sequencers. They're not the same board. Yeah, for sure. So Spectrum says, hi guys. Dude, I think that was the best comment all day. Good old Spectrum. What up, Mike? And Dee Dee says, Juan, what's the light standard for a bunch of addressable stuff? So yeah, Dee Dee says I suck at life. That's awesome. Well, at least you're hanging out with good people. Sean Paymer, Arduino is a great platform to learn coding. Having to learn that and lighting design would be overwhelming to me, for sure. I mean, it'd be overwhelming to me, and I got the light stuff down. I just don't want to go through all that because of time, because time freaks me out. Scott says, you say not smart, but that's exactly the Ghost module does. Exactly. I love your videos, man, but this seems pretty biased, man. So Scott, this is like 100% biased, because think about it. I'm saying it's not smart because I get paid for the time that it takes to build lights, right? So if I were to go learn all of the stuff for Arduino and then I'm going to use what I've learned to spend more time to use that, which is, it's nice. It's like you're getting the education, right? I have to charge for that. I already charge plenty when I do the actual work, and I encourage everybody else to charge as well. The issue is that if something would save tons and tons of time, but I want to go out of my way to do it like a different way, my way, use Arduino and use other stuff and actually set up my own processes and all that. If I do all of that and I don't get paid for it, that's not a sustainable thing. It's not a business model, which is actually what I do, right? It's business. It's not like a tinkerer. If you have the time to do anything that you want, educating yourself is the best. That's what I encourage everybody. Forget everything I say if it doesn't apply to you, because you have time and you want to learn and you want to dive in and just get your hands wet, get your feet wet, get everything wet, and you want to build crazy lights. You have the time to tinker with the LEDs and mess up and learn and mess up and learn, and that same thing with the coding, then you should absolutely do it. I say not smart if it's hurting you. Like, I'm never going to tell you to go do something, because if you learn it, then you'll look cool, but it'll hurt you financially really bad, and it's overall something that's more of a flex than it is something that's actually going to help you out. Feed your kids, buy the cool new thing that you want, whatever. If you go down the road of chasing down all of the knowledge without getting back from that time that you put into it, it's not sustainable. You're gonna lose. And so, as just like a saying, yeah, I'm biased because I've absolutely been on this road for so many years. And a lot of it, I can tell you, from paying a guy to make my own little things based on Arduino back in the day and all that, having certain limitations, and every new iteration of it had to come out of my pocket, right? So, sure, and then I had to wait for that guy's time, and I had to pay for that. And so it gets a little bit ruthless. If I were him, I'd at least be getting paid for my time, but it was the opposite. I was the one that was shelling it out, as opposed to something like this, where it costs maybe more money than you feel like you should spend on this. But here's the beautiful thing about business. It's not my money, right? Why would I go reinvent the wheel at somebody else's expense? Like, that's messed up, right? I'm using their money to develop something that they only needed once. I want to do it over and over again. So I want them to fund it all so that I can keep that like technology or whatever. And now I'm going to just charge everybody else to use the thing that that dude paid for, versus somebody else already figured all that stuff out. This guy wants the cool thing. I tack on the extra $300 for the ghost modules that are potted and ready to go, because I know that that's what I have to use for it. And we're off to the races. Everything that already exists can be downloaded and used to it. Nothing extra had to be added in. And so that's kind of what I've seen works for me. And so, like, that's a very long kind of, like, I guess, touche to the whole, am I biased? Like, for sure, absolutely. And I love that you love my videos. And that's the other thing too, is that like nobody ever has to agree with me. I could be 100% wrong. I'm just interested in being polarizing. You should absolutely agree, or you should absolutely disagree. And so my stance on this is big time. You should definitely not be using Arduino for anything automotive lighting related. If there's some cool thing that's out there that doesn't exist, and that's a solution to it, and that's the only way that you can do it, for sure. But if it has to do with being sequential lights, you could do everything that you need to do with this, with all the inputs that you need, and it's going to save you and a bunch of other people lots of time. Okay, Juan says, DD there, oh, he's talking about addressable. Spectrum says, was scared shiatless on the Hurricane. Absolutely, should be. Especially because you don't know what all the car is going to do, and it's going to play weird tricks on you because the computers are so smart. M3W3K. What do I say? What was that? Newick? I don't know how to say your name how you want me to. Is that Leet speak? I'm using Raspberry Pi 4 to control all the LEDs inside and outside the car. One of my guys in the original Gangster Lightsman is a Raspberry Pi guy too. So that I'm super interested to see what he comes out with as well. Scott says, how do you manage the shutdown? The Pi runs on full OS that needs to be shut down properly. A lot of things are possible, right? But like, I don't know anything about what they're talking about right now. And I don't have to, because like my thing does it right there. I'm not saying be dumb, don't ever look into other things. I'm just saying you shouldn't be needing to bother with all of that information if you want to make your lights turn on with the parking lights and the brake lights and the turn signal and the show mode, and click a button on a remote control that you can buy for $18, and now you're turning on different stuff on your car, and people are, ooh, wow, you know, like none of the programming side of that is involved in that whole situation. Sinister says, Scott, this is purely about the guy trying to earn money doing this, not saying that you can't use it, but you will never be able to bill the hours involved in Arduino. That also would put you so far behind. So this is probably just a more eloquent way of saying what I did. James says he started coding with Arduino, but also it's meant to prototype. You need to take your designs a step further to have them put into production if you ever plan on making any money doing it. So like lots and lots of stuff in the custom lighting space, there's so many things that you can do. Almost all of them you shouldn't do. So you might just know how to do crazy awesome stuff, but you probably shouldn't do that, because there's not just that you should only do things that have a return money-wise, but because if you're just head down designing some crazy new thing and there's something that already exists out there that does it way better, and then you come out with the thing at the end of it, like let's say you come up with some amazing thing for Raspberry Pi. Dude, that thing has to be disproportionately better. Like way better. Not even a little bit. Not even fractionally better, because now you're up against years and years of product knowledge and branding and community and all of that stuff. So like you better change the game if you're trying to just say like, don't use that, use this, it's way better. It just has to have a way higher overall value, or it just has to be way simpler to use. There just has to be a key factor in it that's just so much better. And so going at it from scratch, I don't know, man. I could just tell you flat out, you're going to lose. Not that you can't do it. You can do it. But you're not going to win any race. There's no winner in that situation. That's just like, cool, you did it. Good for you. Pat on the back. Not like, now go use that all the time. Like, it's still better to use something else that saves you time to do very similar things. And plus, here's a huge thing. I didn't even tell you this yet. Better is not better in most cases. Do you know what the most popular paint finish is in custom lighting? You see, I'll actually make a current thing because there's too much to go back on in chat. Anybody want to tell me in chat what is the most popular finish for custom headlight stuff? Custom taillight, whatever. I know my man Sinister comes in with that immediately. Yeah. Corso motion. Same thing. Any other guesses? Okay, so we got matte black, we got gloss black. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's black. It's just black. My personal favorite is matte / satin, whatever. What the heck? Dude, it blocked off Tim Shield's response black. It like held it for review. Wow. Sensitive much? Okay, so here's like the value bomb of the video. You know why black, gloss black, matte black? I personally feel like matte, satin, all that stuff, like that somewhat of a sheen, but not flat and not gloss. I've got my issues with those. But why would I think? Yeah, something like that, John. So here's the reason why people want that more than anything. It's because they've seen it. They don't actually want it, but they've seen it, so they think that that's what they want. So people want what you show them. They want what they've seen. It's the easiest thing to work with. It's not the most popular because it's the best looking and it's what everybody should have been using from the beginning. It's because any other color, if you go down to the store and you buy a rattle can and you shake it up and you shoot the thing with it, it's not going to be as complementary to the car for a beginner to do the job as a can of black paint. Shake it up in mom's backyard. Got newspapers. Like, do people still have newspapers? You know, like folded off on like the back glass table in the backyard. Newspapers everywhere. Some masking tape on there. Maybe. Probably not. Probably just like over the grass. It's black rattle can paint. That's why everybody wants black. It's why it's the most popular. It's because it's easy to do and they've seen it. They went to the car show, they saw some cool headlights. They're like, yo, where'd you get your lights? Oh, I made them myself. Yo, where'd you do it? I did it myself. I paid John down the street, this guy in the backyard, that whatever. And then you get to these pro shops and they're still doing matte black paint. And guess what my favorite thing to sell is? Freaking matte black paint. Because it's easy for my painter to do. He does a great job every single time. And I can deliver on what everybody wants because that's the expectation. So if you come up bringing this whole thing full circle, if you do some crazy development, you have some crazy sequencer, and you do all these things, and you like reinvent the wheel and all of that, they're still just going to want what they've seen. And what they've seen is these generic animations of things zipping back and forth, stacking up and all that crap. And it already all exists in the Ghost libraries. You know what I mean? Everybody's already done it. They don't want the new thing. I've done tens of thousands of dollars of work on cars that are $250,000 plus, right? That's not a flex. That's like, I'm an idiot for doing all that work. There's no way I should have done all that. When you take the hours and you divide them down, I was making peanuts with huge potential downsides and risk taken to do it. And at the end of it, the guy said, I'm probably not going to use almost anything that you put on this car. It's got height adjustability on the corners. It's all Bluetooth controlled. You could change colors on this. You can animate that. You can do all this stuff. But dude just wants it to be easier. He would rather have one of those little 4-button remotes. Push a button. It's Bluetooth. It's tied to his phone, his tablet, his whatever. But he would, being practical, he would rather just push a little button. I had lots of practical business owner types. And they're like, I would totally rather have a remote control that I keep in the center console. I don't want to mess with my phone. I don't want Bluetooth. I just want to push the red button to turn it red, and the orange button to turn it orange, and the purple button to turn it purple. They just want practicality. You know why? Time. Because those guys value time. They don't want to mess with their phone. They don't want to figure all that stuff out. So that's what's up. Let's see anybody else in the house that I haven't said hi to yet. Got Gopal. What up, Gopal? Where you at? He says, you just need to know how to program a signal on a digital port in Arduino. Then it's all just logic play. My man, you're missing the point. That's cool though. I'm happy that you're here. Why would you sell lights outside? Why would I sell lights outside my area? I can design a module which fits on Arduino, then plug and play for car. Would cost like $7 or $8. My man, I don't know why you would ever chase $7 or $8. You know how many of those guys that you would have to get? How much of your time would cost to do that? You're talking about making way more money working at McDonald's than what it would take to do that. Just truth. Night Remains. Do customers get access to Ghost software? Yeah, it's free right now. If you don't know, follow the link. Night Remains. Get access to Ghost software that would be added value to the development board if they want to modify it later. Yeah, I mean, this stuff all exists for anybody. It's free right now. If you buy a Ghost module, what you should also buy, I'll do a video on this later too. What are these little guys? There's generic ones that are cheap if you're that value guy. I want to spend $18 on a little Picket 3 USB programmer. You have to have Windows, or you have to have like a Parallels account where you can run Windows on a Mac for $80. I should probably do that. But yeah, man. So of all the things that you could spend money on, I mean, time is always what you end up paying for. It's the time somebody's put in. But Scott says, thanks for addressing my point. You're not wrong. Time is money. And here's the thing. Scott's not wrong either. It's not about like not educating yourself or anything. I mean, the problem is most people only see it through the lens that they're used to looking through. And so a lot of what comes with the experience and with failure is that you get all these different perspectives and you're able to look at something as seemingly unimportant as how to control little LEDs. And there stands to be a right answer and then like a multitude of wrong answers. And so that, I mean, literally, there's just not, there's generally a whole sea of answers, right? But how do you know which one's the right answer for you? Because every guy that's putting it out there feels really good. Like he's stoked about like, I figured out some crazy stuff. I'm pretty smart. I'm going to put it out to the internet and tell people how smart I am, right? But a big part of this channel and my company now and all of this stuff and the big switch that's happened over the last few years is it's not about me. I mean, sure, I've got all these freaking cameras aimed at me. I'm nonstop thinking about this stuff. I'm maniacal about this whole brand and all that crap. So I'm not any saint. Like I'm ridiculously clearly like full of myself with this, right? Like, oh, I'm always talking and blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing though, it's all for you. It's only for the person that's reading it or watching it or listening to it or whatever, because I've already screwed up in all the ways that they're going to, and they're going to go down all these rabbit holes, and then they're going to find out at the end of that rabbit hole, like there was no benefit for them to go through all of that stuff. There's a lot of things that it took me a long time to switch over to Mac because I was a PC guy from the 90s. And it just came down to time at the end of the day. Time and then other people that have already figured out the stuff that I want to know how to do. So that's... If you're still with me, just type "with it" in chat, because there's so much that I haven't even read. I got all these answers of matte black, gloss black. My issue is I think gloss black shows every little thing, every smudge, every imperfection. You could see it really well in gloss black. So little cheat mode, use that gloss. James says he can talk about dipping. Does anyone else hate when television were all silver? Yeah, for sure, man. Garfor says it's free to dual boot on a Mac rather than spend money on Parallels, but that's exactly the same thing here. If you know how to do the Arduino, great, but don't expect an end user to be happy. Totally. And that's the thing too, is like what if you're building lights? Everyone's with it. You guys are awesome. Trey, what up? Glad you're with it. Glad you're with it too, John Smith. So here's the deal. If you're going to build lights for somebody, like for example, I got my guy Derek that's been watching this from the Bay Area. And we've also got Slush HD, big like backer of the channel and of the business and me and all that. And he's got his GTR taillights coming. These are smart dudes. They're going to totally be able to program all this stuff. Look, Slush HD raises his hands. So they're going to be able to program all this stuff and make the changes themselves and not have to rely on anybody else to make that happen. You plug in the little Picket 3, buy the thing on Amazon, plug it in, access the huge wealth of files that you guys have all contributed to in Sequential Squad, and then you make the changes, and it's pretty freaking easy to actually change the code yourself. What if there's one little change that you want to make? You don't know any coding. You don't want to say, all right, step 1 and step 2 and step 3, but you're just like, I want it to change from being the turn signal shuts off the parking lights, and I want the parking lights to stay on when the turn signal goes. I just want to do that. You open the file, you click one little box, you resave the thing, you load up that file, it does what you want. You didn't learn any code, you didn't have to do anything. So the end user, forget the guy that builds the lights. What about the guy that he's building lights for? That's why there's this whole thing with Ghost that I'm promoting so heavy, and not sponsored, like no one's paying me to do this, you know. This is just for you because it's the right way to go. Because if you build lights for yourself, sweet. There's an issue, you know how to solve it. If you ever build lights for even your homie and he wants to make a little change, what if you're on the hook to open up that program? Or then what? Are you going to sit there and teach him how to do it? Probably not. You shouldn't do that, right? And if any of this stuff has anything to do with your time being valuable to anybody, especially yourself, you know, why reinvent the wheel? Mr. Joby. Al says he's with it. Go, Paul. Can you list the available boards that we can use for animations and tell us the prices also, please? Yeah, I mean, here you go. One board does everything. 65. Let's look on Ghost Lighting right now. I haven't shared my screen once today. Let's do it. All right, actually, let's see if there's any new members in the group. Hey, who's watching that's not in the Facebook group? Because let's see. No response. Do you agree to the group rules? You know what the group rules say? It says, don't be a dick. You didn't agree to that. Boom. Decline. Do you agree to the group rules? William Mullins. Well, William, welcome to Sequential Squad. That was easy. So let's go to ghostlighting.com. And we're going to look at what you guys, and if you want, you can save 10%. Look at all these guys that are uploading stuff. My man Dan, too. So we got Dan and Kyle. Kyle's NASA. Dan is going ham. I mean, I look up to this guy big time. He's helping out huge with 3D printing all this stuff to fight all this craziness that we're going through. Look at this shop. Ooh, they got a new little animation there. Shop. Aww. And then V5 sequencers. And let's see what the full pop retail is. 65 bucks, dude. Used to be 70. If you get a single board, blank, it says requires programming, right? But if you click the drop down, you could say that you have headlights. So let's say you have like switchback. It's got white LEDs, it's got amber LEDs. You want it to come pre-programmed, ready to go, start playing with it. Boom. Click that, 65 bucks. Let's say you got some taillights, like the Genesis Coupe ones from yesterday. You want to have 28 channels all hooked up to be like a big linear pattern go. 65 bucks. So you want to buy a pair. What happens to that price? 65 bucks times 2, $129. Type promo code FlyRyde, save 10%. Okay. So, and they've got all the other cool stuff on there too. Blue Ghost for addressable. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. I need to do a better job curating all of the answers, the frequently asked questions, all that good stuff. 100K in the house. What up, sir? John Smith said, post a link for anyone late. Well, all the links, if you need them, are in Sequential Squad. So that's actually right in the system. Let's open up that page too. Might as well. Right? Let's do it. Squad. Okay. Here we go. So that's how you join the Facebook group. Click that. And then we've got the theater. And the idea here is that you have CLC files that I can load up here. But I can also just actually, any of the files that I've actually got on here. I'll spend a whole lot more time fleshing out, I guess you'd say, all the other little parts of the system here. But that's not the fun part. That's just where all the GLS files are going to live, which is the sequence file that does all the cool individual stuff. But we got the sequence library. And so this, if we walk through it, this is what I've been using the live stream for, is to build out all of this stuff. So we've got things that's just a straight line. It's just linear. It starts at 1 LED, works all the way to 28 LEDs at the end, or any variation of that. So you might build a cool 11 channel sequential linear pattern only for Chris to tell you the next day that it should be 12 channel. And then you got this.
Morning, guys.
Look at that. Look at that schmuck. And so you've got all this stuff going on where we're programming it. You can watch the old live streams this way, but at least it categorizes it and it gives you some information. You've got your file that you can download to work on the same exact file that we're doing on here, and it's all free. It's freaking free. That's ridiculous. You know how much money it costs for me to even post all this stuff up? It's not cheap. It's really expensive. And that's not showing you how to wire up all the LEDs or anything. It's just showing you how to program all this stuff and how to do it. So if you're building your own lights, you can tap into that file. And the idea is that we're going to have a massive library, user driven, right, from all you guys. And it's basically going to have a file for absolutely everybody. You want an 11 channel file, you want a 23 channel file, it'll be there. And you can just download that and tweak it, program it, check it out on your lights, share with the group, upload the file. Now everybody else can get the file that you made custom. That's the whole point. John Smith says, I'm in a YouTube app, lulz. Hey, well, I think you'll figure it out. You'll be good. All the links should work. Gopal says, thanks for the details. Was curious about those cool stuffs. I made a lot of headlights using nano Arduinos, but there's a twist. The LED I used was addressable. I used 5 volts. So that's the exact same thing with like the guy that did photography. If you've got 5 volt LEDs, you can totally do that. Or you can even use the 12 volt addressable LEDs with Blue Ghost, which is also the same kind of deal where you've got either 5 volt LEDs or 12 volt. You have your choice. You go crazy. Jake says, isn't John Paul's daughter like 9 in programming lights? She's 6, says Tim. That's super awesome. And yeah, and so Jake said that his 14-year-old, who was actually watching at some point in here, Gracie, she's sitting animating LEDs. So we got a 6-year-old doing it, we got a 14-year-old doing it, and you know what I gotta say is that the time it would take them to make a cool file and put it on a set of lights and then actually have it on a car is way faster than dude who wants to reinvent the wheel and go through all that stuff. I mean, I guarantee if we ask Go Paul here about the time that he's spent putting all this stuff together, if it's super fast, the only reason that it's super fast is because he spent a lot of time learning. And all of that is time that has been spent. Whether it's time spent learning so that you can, deploy that knowledge quickly, or whether it's just, I don't know, just starting from bare bones and you're putting in all that work to get to where you want to get to. I am going to promise you that the 6-year-old spent 0 time learning before she was already making the thing. She just made it. She just hopped in and started. Like there was no time before that. She's 6, right? But she's already making animations with her dad and saying that she wants to do lights. That's freaking cool. She wants to be like daddy. That's amazing to me. That's the coolest thing ever. She's not doing that with an Arduino. Not ever. A 6-year-old's not hopping on being like, I want to program Arduino like daddy. Nope. I'm sure there's like some brilliant story about a little savant kid doing that, but I never heard about it. So I'm just going to assume that's not a thing. John Smith, there's so many cheaply made LEDs out there and their cost reflects cheap LEDs are cheaper for a reason. Yeah, man, there's bootleg everything, right? Like I don't know, there's so much of this stuff, like even bootleg knowledge on YouTube. So many people are doing terrible, terrible, dumb things, and then they're showing you their end result, but it's not real. It's not actually good. If you see that stuff in person, if you meet that YouTuber and you see his car that everybody's like humping his leg about, they're pumped, and then it's at your shop and it's leaking oil and coolant everywhere and it barely starts and you're, oh man, there's so many stupid things. Just because on the cover of the book it looks like it's going to be awesome does not mean it. Lately I've been the dumbest guy ever when it comes to Netflix shows. I keep picking these Netflix shows based on like, well, it looks like it's probably pretty good. I don't know. It's on Netflix. It's got this actor. It's got that, whatever. And I start watching. I'm like, this is trash. This is so bad. This is terrible. And so, yeah, I mean, like everything else, like SEMA cars that don't run. You know, the one that I love, Jay will appreciate this. Jay's a great builder, Sinister Retro Works. He's done these WRX lights with the jewel eye, right? So it's 5 little LED projectors stuffed into the light, aimed properly. He has the front end of a car cut off, front clip, where he can aim it and like make sure everything's legit, right? You don't have that. No one else. I don't have that. Nobody has that. Just Jay does. And he made his lights dope, and they work. They do everything. And still, it was insanely difficult, I'm sure. But then you got your Instagram influencer, right? He takes his lights apart. He doesn't even really seal them back. He just slaps the thing in there, pushes it together, bolts it on the car, makes his front end look pretty, mounts the thing that's barely holding on to place, cracked all over the place and all that. Finds the angle that doesn't show those cracks, shoots a picture. He's got those jewel eyes rattling around in there. One's aiming down, one's aiming up, but you can't tell because it's on Instagram. It's far away. People are pumped. Dude, I want that. They hit up all the builders. I want to get those lights like this guy, like this guy, like this guy. Everybody's reposting stuff, right? They're all over the place saying, I want that. Don't ever take that bait, man. That's bad bait. Don't do it. Made me think of one thing from earlier today. Another builder hit me up. Dude's dope. Very talented guy. He's actually the one that sent me unicorn tears back in the day. So I'm going to pull up a question that he asked me, because I'm going to show you guys something a long, long time ago, which spawned this whole topic for me today about focus and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and the time involved and the end result and the sellability of it. This is a very cool set of lights that I built in 2010, 11, something like that. So they're crazy, right? They're for the GTRs. This is way before the cool ones came out back in the day. And when I play the video, you're
Hey
gonna
guys,
see
this is Chris at FlyRyde, showing you a little bit of the vacuum forming that we do.
vacuum forming.
Plastic work and molding for the Nissan GTR dual projector headlights.
Okay, so here's the point.
Hey guys, this is Chris at FlyRyde.
That whole thing there
Vacuum forming that we
was
do. Custom
the
plastic.
dumbest thing that you could possibly do. I was taking apart, and then I was making another plastic part. I was sticking a sheet of plastic in the oven, getting it hot, sticking it over a mold with the perfect little plug that I had made. Took a long time to make that. Then it was all hooked up to a vacuum. Turn on the vacuum with the hot sheet of plastic over the mold, sucks it down, makes a custom shape. Cut that shape out, drill out the center, start working it until it starts becoming somewhat round and legit. Take a bat, sandpaper, tape to the bat, back and forth, up and down, just rounding out the inside diameter of that little part over and over and over. Hours sanding the outside, getting everything all perfect, just so that I can make a lens that looks, or a front face to the thing where I'm going to mount a projector, just so I can do that so that it looks very similar to the stock one, right? Dude hits me up today and he just wanted to know, is that, like, what did I use to make that happen? What he didn't expect that I was going to say is that I made it. So it's supposed to look like this and it looks like that. So imagine that I'm doing all of this stuff. Mind you, that has nothing to do with mounting the actual projector, spacing it out, making sure that it's completely secure in perfect alignment with this low beam projector, and doing all of that stuff that has nothing to do with paint. It's nothing to do with demon eyes. I mean, this is a really long time ago. This is 10 years ago, basically, right? So you're going to do all of that, and guess what? That build, if I were to do it right now, I couldn't convince somebody to give me $1,000 for it. Not $1,000. So should you do it because you can? No, you should totally not do that. Vacuum forming? Are you kidding me? No. Never, ever, ever do that. And if you do it, don't show anybody, because all that's going to happen at best is somebody else is going to want the thing. Even if they gave me $5,000, I shouldn't do that job. It's terrible. So much that went into that. So I definitely think that just because you have the ability to pull something off doesn't mean that you should do it. It's been absolutely crazy watching things evolve with Ghost, with all the different stuff that's involved in the whole lighting industry and all that. There's just better stuff that you can do with your time and money. So I hope that you guys take this. I'm gonna take some snippets of it, use it on some other stuff, make some YouTube videos. And I definitely hope that you guys can start cutting out the things that you shouldn't be doing so you can focus on the things that you should be doing. Like my man Kyle Gregory here, making super dope stuff happen so that you don't have to. You know what I mean? That's all I got for you today. It's good. Corona WRX. Just lost monetization because I said your name. Damn, I missed why you said not to use Arduino, because that's exactly what I was going to do. Good thing there's replays, right? Yeah, man, this is a good video for guys. It's going to be a polarizing thing, just so that you know. I'm going to make a video that's a lot more like articulated than this. And it's going to talk about just a few key points. And by the way, later, Adam. But at the end of the day, it's going to piss a lot of people off, and that's okay. They get thumbs down me and all that stuff. They won't know that I'm right, even if I'm right. And they don't have to agree either. Like, nobody has to pat me on the back or anything for it. The main thing is just I want to lead people in the direction away from the trap, away from the rabbit hole that takes them to nowhere, and save them a ton of time. And I want to get them involved for free and help them out and get everybody going together so that if they didn't know about it, they can just sign up in Sequential Squad, meet all you guys, get into the Facebook group. It's just going to be better for everybody. John Smith says, Arduino is perfect for hobbyists, I think hobbyists, because it's super cheap and doesn't even come with the case. Neither does Ghost. So it just depends on what kind of hobbyist you are. I say even somebody like Jay at Sinister, who's done amazing light jobs, lots of retrofits, lots of really tough stuff, is barely just getting into Ghost and using the sequencers and stuff like that. It's not for everybody. It shouldn't be. I don't think most people should be doing sequential LEDs to begin with, but it does give you the option to kind of dream up anything that you can figure out. Work with OEM LEDs, work with drop-in boards. There's so many different things that you can do. And still, for some people, it's just not a good fit. They should totally just do a simple addressable setup, work with something that's already else that's out there, and different strokes for different folks. That's it. I'm going to get to it. I got a lot of stuff to do for my man Slush HD today. So we'll be showing his wrapped up taillights here probably tomorrow on the channel and getting them boxed up and shipped. Same thing, all those WRX taillights, headlights, all that stuff. It's been good. So I think you guys are helping out more than you know, creating these files and setting stuff up. And the last thing too is that for those of you that wanted to get in on the challenge for the GLS files on the Genesis coupe lights, that's all uploaded. It's all in Squad now. So go to the website, check it out, download the files, modify, make some cool changes, upload. We'll pick a winner on Friday. It'll be good. All right. Anything else you guys need, comment in Discord or in the Facebook group. I will be there. Check it out. Dylan Weaver, I'm looking at the monitor that you sent me. You're the man. What it be, yo? Sorry I'm late to the party. Had a funeral. I'm sorry, man. Funerals are never fun. Gopal says, the Ghost plus shipping costs $90, which means it costs about Raspberry Pi, whatever, 300. Out money isn't that rich. That's quite expensive. I wish you good luck, my man. You know, you do whatever you need to do. Sinister says Builder 1 uses Arduino, Builder 2 uses Ghost, Builder 2 makes 10 sets of similar lights. It takes Builder 1 it takes Builder 1 to make one set to explain to the customer how to code. Yeah, you know, don't do something 10 times in a row that you could have done once. Definitely better. 100K says, what's the contest? You're going to win some cool FlyRyde stuff. We're also going to be doing another awesome business raid this week. We want to get you guys going a lot more. And we've got Kyle and Dan on board for a bigger prize coming up here soon too. Dylan says, it's all good. Glad it can work out for you. Totally did, man. And how many moon rocks does it cost you in your country? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The biggest bit of advice that I can ever give anybody that's going to build lights for somebody else is don't cheap out and use bad parts with their money. That's on you. Got to use their money to buy the right stuff to give them the best end result. And at the end of the day, if you don't and you cheap out and you give them the crappy LEDs and those LEDs burn out, but you only charge them the minimal amount because you made that decision to cheap out for them, you're the one that screwed the pooch on that one, not them. They're just the guy shelling out money because he expects that somebody that knows even just marginally more than they do is going to deliver a better end result. And so you need to think outside of your own limiting box, right? What's the best way that this guy's going to have a super dope end project? And then you facilitate that, give it back to him, and use his money to make it all happen. There you go. I hope that answers that question. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'll be in the group online. Hit me up with anything that you need, questions there. Enjoy, help each other out, make cool coding, all of that. We had no music today. It's kind of nice. All right. I will see you guys on